she collapsed in the kitchen. One moment she was humming a lullaby, that soft, trembling tune she used to sing to her daughter when the world felt safe, stirring soup barefoot, the scent of rosemary in the air. Then her body dropped like someone had cut her strings. No stumble, no warning, just the crack of bone against tile, sharp and final, that sounded an echo. It ended things. Something inside me split open with it. By the time we reached the hospital, she was unconscious. Machines had taken over breathing for her, beating in her place. Wires coiled along her arms like vines, a tube down her throat, her chest, rising and falling with that cold, artificial rhythm. The room was silent, except for the hiss and click of life support. The doctor's words were gentle, too practiced to hold weight. But it was a nurse, a young woman, eyes full of something close. To Fear, who stopped me in the hall, her voice trembled. "Please," she whispered, "bring your daughter now." I didn't ask. I didn't hesitate. I just moved. Emma was curled in a chair. In the waiting area, fists tight in her lap. Her hands were like ice when I touched them. All the warmth of her childhood, still back there in that kitchen, spilled across the floor with the soup and the silence. I held her close and led her into the ICU. What I saw in that room didn't just take my breath. It stole the air from the walls like grief made a vacuum. My wife lay still, pale as the sheets. The woman I loved for 15 years. The mother of my child. And sitting there beside her like he belonged was a man, his hand wrapped around hers, whispering her name like it was a sacred thing. His voice soft, intimate, familiar. He looked up, I recognized him instantly. Her coworker, the one she swore, was just launched at the one who once smiled at me across a punch bowl at a holiday party, shaking my hand like we were both just normal men. Our eyes locked. He turned toward Emma. "You're her daughter?" he asked gently. No, I said, calm and low, eyes never leaving his. "She's mine." Betrayal doesn't always come like a slow leak. Sometimes it's a flood. Sometimes it tears through your life in an instant, like a thunderclap splitting the sky. In that moment, I felt the floor give beneath everything. We'd built 15 years of routines of shared Sunday mornings and bedtime stories of laughter over burnt pancakes. I'd always been the dreamer, the planner. She was supposed to be the light, or so I believed. But shadows had been creeping in for a long time. I remembered the signs now, how her eyes would dart away too quickly, how dinner stretched suspiciously long, the silence that followed when I entered a room, the too fast laughs cut short like a lie half swallowed, and the note. The sweet folded letter I found tucked in Emma's lunchbox a month ago. Something about missing you already signed with a heart. She laughed it off, said it was a joke from a friend, but I knew. I felt it in my bones. That night, I sat alone in the garage, staring at the silver plaque on the toolbox she gave. Mere 10th anniversary to my forever. Forever, I realized, comes with small print. I stopped grieving and started observing. Quietly, methodically, I sensed her cloud account, installed tracking software, unseen, invisible. The truth began to pile in, slow and devastating. Messages, photos, emails she thought were deleted. He called her Sunflower. She called him Always. That used to be ours. Always. That was what we promised under the stars once. Our newborn daughter. Asleep between us. She wasn't going to yoga. She was checking into room 409 of the Rosewood Hotel. I tracked every visit, logged the dates, times. I kept everything at first. I thought she was preparing to leave me for him, but then came the toxicology report. She hadn't fainted from stress. Her blood was full of something it shouldn't have been administered slowly, carefully over time. She wasn't just cheating. She was being poisoned. Not by me. That revelation gutted me. I dug into him. Didn't take long to find the rot restraining orders, ex-girlfriends found in bathtubs, overdoses that didn't add up. He was a pattern dressed in a clean shirt. I don't know if she knew what he was doing or if she chose not to see it. Either way, it didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. I had what I needed. I let the hospital run its tests. Well, they worked. So did I. I met with a lawyer, moved every asset into a trust for Emma, froze her accounts, updated my will, filed for full custody. When she finally opened her eyes 3 days later, I was waiting, not with flowers or whispered reassurances, but with a divorce packet appending, restraining order, and a will to protect the only thing that mattered. Not her, not her daughter. Still, I needed something more, something unforgettable. Precise. Invited them both to dinner. Her favorite place, the little candlelit restaurant, where we used to toast anniversaries, where I once slipped a ring onto her finger and promised her the world. She arrived looking hollow, aged in a way that had nothing to do with time. He sat beside her, smug, pretending this would be easy before we even ordered. I slid the folder across the table. "You should see this," I said. Inside photos from the hotel, GPS records, screenshots of messages, even the flag transactions from her joint account used to rent the room. And then stapled to the back, a custody petition. Every page signed and dated. He stiffened. She went pale. Her hand shook as she reached for the glass of water. "You tried to replace me," I told her, my voice barely above a whisper. "Then I turned to him and you tried to erase her." His jaw twitched. I leaned closer. "I know what you did. So does the hospital. Tomorrow morning the police will too." He bolted, didn't even stay for dessert. She stayed weeping quietly, into a cloth napkin, mascara bleeding like old ink. The divorce came quickly after that. I got the house, the savings, full custody. She got court debt and supervised visits on Sundays. He vanished like men like him. Always do when the light hits them. Right, predators hate exposure. She writes now letters full of apologies, of regrets. I don't read them. Emma doesn't ask for her anymore. She's healing stronger than she knows. In me, well, I've learned that love without truth is just theater, and in clapping for actors. Betrayal became my teacher. It taught me to wait, to watch, to strike not with rage but precision. I don't regret what I did. I only regret believing before I had proof. But I corrected that with facts, with silence, with strategy. One final move. So calculated, so devastating, it left no room for doubt. Now just checkmate.